and we're very excited. Today is our first update and AMA. So we're going to do things, just want to explain really briefly the format of how we're going to do this. Basically, today's event is going to last about 30 minutes, and the first 15, we want to give you a little bit of an update. Basically, both Krissa and Jesse are going to split the time and give some updates from both the company perspective as well as the development perspective. And then at that point, we're going to turn it over to you. Basically, we do have a chat line that will be opening up here momentarily that you'll be able to leave questions. And if you want, you can leave it in the chat, or you can also email me at michael@patienttoy.com. Again, that's Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, @patienttoy.com. So besides that, we'll also, just as a brief note of housekeeping, we will have the video up after this. So if you have to leave early, or if one of your colleagues couldn't make it, you're more than happy to send that to them, and we'll make sure that you have that information as soon as possible. We'll also be doing this probably about twice a month, so we'll have a schedule out shortly as well. So without further ado, I'm very pleased to pass it over to Krissa McFarland, our CEO. One moment, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm Krissa McFarland, and as Michael eloquently addressed, and this is our CTO, Jesse Brown.
Hello.
So just big recap into our company. We started about 18 months ago. We were really inspired to form the company from our frustrations with patients not having a central depository of their own health information. So we saw the need for more patient-centric solution in the healthcare industry. And that's what spearheaded PatientToy as a company. We were picked as one of the first 4 digital healthcare companies in the state of Colorado through a partnership with Boomtown Health Tech Accelerator and the Colorado Permanente Medical Group. Since then, we've been strategizing and building our business. In regards to the crowd sale, which we successfully launched and ended 3 weeks ago, we started on May 2nd with a pre-sale to purchasers, which led up to the opening of the crowd sale on May 30th. And we sold out 70 million tokens in the span of 3 days. We're currently now traded on Liqui and Bittrex. Bittrex is an American exchange where purchasers can buy our PTOY token. With the proceeds from our raise, 7.2 million, we're looking to further develop our platform and bring on new hires, development, marketing, product by expanding our team so that we can successfully implement with our pipeline hospital customers. Jesse?
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'd like to talk a little bit about where we are as far as development right now. We're finishing up the design for the first iteration of the hospital node. And we're currently almost done with our 3-tier architecture, which is basically going to provide a fabric to transport the data from the hospital nodes to the blockchain, our permission blockchain. Now, this is going to be a 3-tier layer, a lot like a web layer would act. And this is kind of unique in blockchain operations now. We're one of the first ones who are going to be implementing this into production. Basically what it is you have 3 layers. You have a presentation layer, which is the UI layer, which is where people will interact with the application. The middle layer is a business logic and smart contract layer, just like the EVM and just like our blockchain is, where we'll be doing some off-the-chain computations, which will really help us move the data around and give another area for us to I'm going to take some of the resources off of the chain, which will be good, but the information that needs to be documented on the chain will always be there, of course. And then the top layer is the schema layer, which is mostly where the data will flow through. So we're getting very close to finishing that. We're going to be conducting a pilot in the next 45 or 60 days. So we're looking forward to that. That's one of our new milestones as well. So we're getting close to where, you know, we're going to be bringing in more people, but we're going to, you know, start to really expand production now. And we're going to get all of our ducks in a row so that we can put the PTO coin to work.
Thank you. Now we'll forward it over to Michael with any questions that you guys may have.
Well, before we get into that, I just wanted to ask a few questions that had come in as well. Can you give us a recap of the crowd sale? Basically, just kind of summarize the key milestones that happened and kind of where we are now, basically, with that.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we started on May 2nd with the pre-sale, which lasted around 3 weeks, culminated with the end of the pre-sale and the start of our crowd sale on May 30th, May 31st. And that lasted 3 days. We issued 1 million PTOY tokens, 70 million which we sold during the crowd sale, 30 million which are held in reserve by the PTOY Foundation. 20 million of that are used for marketing, research and development, and basically operations administrative costs. And 10 million of that will be allocated to our team as we grow it over the next 5 years.
That's great. So can you explain what was the big news this weekend about exchanges? That you can explain to everybody just kind of why that was important and you know where that brought us to today.
Yeah, so we recently got listed on Bittrex, and like we had mentioned that already as well, which we've seen has really driven up the volume and just access to the token. So if anyone, we've gotten a bunch of questions that come over the past 5 days, like how do I buy PTOY? It's just by going to Bittrex, like we are able to log in and sign up and be able to purchase those tokens.
Fantastic. And so one of the questions that's come in then from our community is, can you tell us more about the ideal target customer for PTOY? And these are toss-ups that either of you could take. Carissa, do you want to go ahead and start?
Yeah, so we sell primarily to hospitals and healthcare organizations. Our main pipeline now consists of large health systems. As we see, they have an innovation arm that can really help in adopting the technology and scaling it. So we do see them as our early adopters to drive the technology forward, especially since we're practically bringing a new emerging technology to the healthcare industry.
Excellent. Today you guys spoke at the Center for Disease Control and Prevention here in Atlanta, the CDC. Can you tell us a little bit about that event and the feedback that you got about PTOY, and just kind of give your thoughts and your summations about that?
Well, I thought we got really good feedback, to be honest with you. There were quite a few top-tier presenters. Microsoft was there, IBM was there, Consensus was there. So when we presented, we spoke, obviously about the application. I got into a little bit of detail about, what this PTOY fabric is going to look like, and the response was really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great way for us to really, showcase the technology and its applicable use within a federal infrastructure.
Yeah, and I got into the interoperability with other blockchains as well as existing legacy systems, and how our plug-and-play solution is really going to help us scale quickly. It's going to help us grow our footprint globally and start to gather a lot of big data around patients. And I think CDC was very interested in that.
Fantastic, fantastic. So one of the questions that's come in, Joseph Franklin, thank you very much. We've one of our friends from Slack and Twitter has chimed in with a question. He said, you mentioned PTOY is expanding. So are your need of employees, how is that going to work? Are you going to post positions that need to be filled? And what kind of positions are you looking to hire?
Yeah, so currently on our website, careers at PTOY.com/careers, we have a few positions that we've already posted to our job board. We're also actively looking for developers as well. So that's something that Jesse can speak more to and what he's looking for in technical talent. But on the operations end, we're definitely looking for more marketers, product managers, and project managers. And we would post it on our job board as well as other career sites.
Yeah, and as far as what I'm looking for, you know, really, we're going to be building on Node.js, so we're going to have an AWS stack. So obviously, talent in JavaScript would be first and foremost. And we're also looking to partner as well with some other companies we spoke to at CDC. I think there's a opportunity to, you know, get involved with some of these other Ethereum developers and other Ethereum teams who are producing different applications across different domain names to play a part in our growth as well.
Excellent, excellent. So, you know, let's talk about blockchain, if we could, for a moment. So one of the questions that came in is about blockchain. How do you explain that to, you know, a lot of us who are in this event right here is that, you know, let's face it, we're all pretty familiar with it, but how do you explain to the layman what blockchain is?
Good question.
Well, that is a good question. I guess blockchain is it's a new technology, but it's still using tools and other technologies that have been around for a while. Basically, what it does is it siloed databases that communicate with each other, and friction with that in healthcare. There's some, you know, long times to get your records transferred from one physician to another or a specific care provider. So what blockchain will basically do is through smart contracts, it will automate a lot of these processes, and it will eliminate a lot of the reconciliations that have been going on for so long. And it's going to basically we're re-engineering how data flows through the healthcare system.
Excellent, excellent. So we have another question from Jack Shaw. Hello, Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Hey, Jack.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
I say, Jack is asking, how will the PTOY tokens be used in the day-to-day operations and by whom?
Great. So our company acts as a broker of the tokens. We incorporate that into our SaaS service in our sale to healthcare systems and organizations. So essentially, the PTOY tokens regulate the network storage space on the blockchain infrastructure that we've created, and we've monetized that in our SaaS model as a revenue stream in how we are able to sell to hospitals and systems.
Excellent, excellent. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, she touched on it.
So let's see. Another question we got is, what are some of the biggest hurdles that you've encountered, being that this is the first healthcare, you know, really the first major healthcare coin, or just in general, you know, blockchain-oriented crypto business? Yeah,
well, there are basically two, you know, biggest hurdles. The first one is education. So we've done a lot of legwork in, you know, just putting out content and educating, especially our customers, on why they would need a blockchain system and how they can rely on a blockchain infrastructure to basically decrease their IT capital costs and overall security in regards to data storage. The second piece of that is really the regulatory piece. So, being an emergent technology and being in a heavily regulated industry such as healthcare, there are a lot of HIPAA, other security requirements that are needed that essentially does not introduce blockchain as one of those mechanisms.
Yeah, I might add, just changing the mindset of IT operators that have been using legacy systems, for most of their lives, and getting them to kind of think in a different way. It's not a great big challenge, and it's certainly one that we're moving along with well, but it's always going to be there as we bring new customers in.
Great, great. Let's see. So this next question is from Biomedicalit. I apologize if I bungled that, your name, but Biomedicalit asks, could you describe the business model? Basically, just if you had to summarize the business model. I know that we've thrown out a lot in terms, blockchain, and you talked about the tokens and such, but what is really the core business model of PTOY?
In summary, or high level, we are, incorporating a B2B2C model. Our primary customers are, being business enterprises, hospital systems, healthcare organizations such as insurance companies and big pharma companies that would want to access data down the road for a lot of studies and resources. And then we see our secondary markets being the patients. So with our application that patients download from an Amazon store or an Apple store, they're allotted a certain amount of storage, just by participating in the blockchain network. And then any additional information that they see that they would want to have as a part of their health data repository, they would essentially need tokens, and they would purchase that tokens from the market.
Great. Let's see. So Edwin Guerra asks, I remember reading that the system will support legacy systems. Is that accurate?
Yes, it's very accurate. It's going to be a plug and play. It's going to basically layer over their existing systems now, and through our fabric, transmit the data to our permissioned blockchain. So that's one of the key value props for what we do, is that we're a simplified plug and play to a lot of these existing infrastructures.
Great.
So yeah, just add on, we do incorporate APIs right now. So, when we go into a hospital, we're looking at their centralized EMR, electronic medical record systems. So we're utilizing APIs to push and pull that data, to and from the network.
Great. So, just before we move on from that question about legacy systems, what actually are some of the legacy systems that we're already planning to support and kind of layer in between?
So when we speak to electronic medical records, we're looking at a lot of these different vendors that store and house patient data, so electronic medical information. So some of them right now we have interoperability with are Epic, Cerner, Allscripts, and Meditech.
Great. So Worldly Trader asks, will patients in hospitals have to buy the PTOY token to have access to medical records and the PTOY network?
So essentially, as a software as a service company, we're a SaaS-based company. We're the middleman between the hospitals and the markets, in that we're essentially, buying the tokens on behalf of the hospitals and coming in as their trusted IT vendor to set up shop and just setting up our technology within their systems.
Great. And another question that was sent in, so just so for everyone who's on the chat right now and listening in, I'm reading up questions that people are sending in on the chat. Also reading up questions that were submitted previously via email when you registered. So we're trying to get to as many of your questions as possible, and that's where these are coming from. In fact, one of the questions that came in before previously by email was, people say, what is the strangest bit of feedback that you've received? I think you guys can both take this. Maybe Chris, especially from your perspective of having started the company 16 months ago, and Jesse, with your perspective, especially from the development side. But both of you guys, what's the strangest bit of feedback that you've received that you kind of just go, okay, thank you, we appreciate it?
Do you want to try that out?
Well, what I hear a lot, and it's a legitimate concern, is user adoption. The core of our application is around, it's patient-centered. So, there's a lot of, I wouldn't say pushback, but there's questions on how we get that traction. But our application is going to be robust. It's not just going to be about medical records in the future. We're going to be adding some machine learning and AI capabilities. You're going to be able to engage in communities with people with similar disease states. There's going to be a lot of I guess I would say a lot of extra benefits to the application besides just the health records. And my point to the question is, we've got the best user touch point. I mean, we're an application, a native application in your phone. So most people have that right in their pocket at all times. So we feel like, even though that may have been a concern for past companies, we feel like we can tackle that.
Excellent. So I'm going to combine two questions that came in because I think they're related to each other, and you can probably speak to both of these. Tove, and again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing names here, but Tove Madhu asks, how would PTOY continue to develop if the Ethereum concept fails? And Du-An asks, kind of on a related note, with the token price being so volatile, how do you think hospitals and patients with fixed budgets are going to react to possible changes in the price of tokens? So one is asking basically about the volatility of pricing inherent in cryptocurrency markets as it stands today, and then there's a little bit more kind of like a potential failure of Ethereum.
Well, I'll address the Ethereum question.
Yeah.
It's first of all, with all the momentum Ethereum has, I really don't see this as being something that would happen right now. It's with ICO raises, with the Ethereum Alliance, a lot of enterprise applications are starting to work with it. Countries are using it for their digital currency. But if that happens, that plays back into our 3-tier layer fabric that we have. It's interoperable with any blockchain. So if Ethereum all of a sudden bites the dust, we'll just plug in another blockchain and move along.
Yeah, and I'll take the volatility issue question. So in a sense, our price is how we charge hospitals are independent of the crypto market. And as a company, we're really allocating that storage based on price. So then it's looking at currency. So we're really taking into consideration, inflation and appreciation of the token. But in a sense, a hospital would still have set storage bandwidth on the network.
So we have just about 3 minutes, a little under that left, probably about time for 2 more questions. One of them, it comes from iHeartU. iHeartU asks, how will you sell your EMR when most labs are, or hospitals, probably in this case too, have their own proprietary EMR that they are using for free? What is great about PTOY that they will be able to, that they'll be willing to implement and more importantly pay for?
Yeah, so one misconception that we have seen a lot is, we've seen just people in the market address us as an EMR. So we're not a physician practice vendor or an electronic medical record, but our technology is more of a cybersecurity solution to safeguarding records that are kept within these legacy systems. So we sit on top of an EMR, and basically encrypt, and then we go through a process of what is called sharding of that de-identified information across the blockchain infrastructure. So we see now, you know, in our current time where EMRs, you know, patient data, they're prone to cyber attacks and theft, and we saw that with NHS, and we see that, you know, daily, on a daily basis with hospitals that are currently under attack and have record of data breaches, which in turn, you know, increases their payments out due to patient fines of that data breach.
So we have time, I think, for just one last question. And this is I just want to preface this by saying it's a very serious question. Okay. Very, very serious. Comes from Cheshire Cat, who asks, where's the spaceship?
To the moon, right?
Exactly. There you go. There you go.
We're fueling it up right now.
You know, or as I've been saying to folks, you know, because I'm the company space cadet. You know, I've been saying it's not. We've already been to the moon. We're aiming for Mars. So, well,
great job.
Thank you very much, everybody. This has been a fantastic experience. Like I said, we will do this again another time this month. We'll make sure we publish the calendar well ahead of time so that more people can join. We're very glad for all the questions you've had. Please feel free to join our Slack community. The links for that are on the website, PatientTory.com. You can also join Telegram. I got to say, just as the resident community manager here for PatientTory, it's very impressive, both of these communities. They're full of very robust discussion, a lot of great questions, a lot of, frankly, provocative questions that make us think. It's really, truly feels like a partnership in many ways, and we just want to say thank you to all the you know, existing and current members of Slack, and we want to definitely expand the circle in Slack and Telegram and Twitter and all of our communities to include more, because we truly do feel, if you haven't been able to tell, we're very passionate about this community. We're very passionate about the product that we're building, and we definitely are glad that you are along for the ride. So thank you very much. We'll post the video probably tomorrow morning. With that, we bid you a very cool good afternoon. Thank you, everybody.